supposed to know it was her sister. Anyway, hi, sorry, yeah?
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they don't look anything like each other. Hello and welcome to The Jib. This bi-weekly podcast is about the many and varied schemes of the many and varied US law enforcement and intelligence agencies, organizations, and committees, and how they are stupid and funny. Join us on our merry journey through space and time. Hi, my name is Barry, and I hold the world record for the most number of circumcisions performed on one person. All right, I just had my 17th circumcision, and that's an actual world record, yeah.
The ladies are okay with that? I mean...
Oh, they love it. It's ribbed for her pleasure. Yeah. Although apparently if what you told me in the green room before is true, then Travis Kelce's going to break that record. So we'll see.
Oh, shit. Hi, everybody. I'm Seamus. You may know me from my signature Gibson Deluxe air guitar.
Air guitar. That's one of the expensive ones, right?
Right. Man, you don't know how many times I had to go back to the model on that. Man. A lot of work.
Lifetime guarantees. You can just get a service as often as you want.
Yeah, the strings are real expensive to replace.
Stop, please. Okay. We're not here to talk about your air guitar. Look at the four real guitars behind you. You're really good at playing the guitar.
Well,
the actual guitar. No, I've heard you on. You put your stuff up on Twitter. You're on all that kind of rock guitar stuff. You know, really good at it. You're talking about an air guitar. Anyway, sorry, we're not here to talk about your air guitar, are we?
No. No. So I'm telling everybody out of the gate on this one. That Barry knows this, so I've been kind of sweating about doing this one for some time and getting it down to a workable script. Because I was concerned about having this to be a 3-parter or a 2-parter. Somehow we got it down to one.
Yeah. Did you say at one time it was 36 pages long or something?
Yes. So
36 pages. We have it down to 12 here, which is one episode. We should be okay.
Yeah. So for those that know the story or read about it afterwards and wonder why I cut, this is why. There's possibly a related second part to the story, very relatable, but not. Well, you'll understand if we do the story. At some point. But anyways,
I like how we both of us often introduce it by saying, now look. This was cut down a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, not sure if you've heard about something called 9/11 there, Barry.
9/11, yes. That's the date of the coup in Chile that replaced Salvador Allende with General Pinochet. Of course.
Right.
9/11.
Yes.
How could I forget?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought you would confuse it with 7-Eleven, the convenience store that serves week-old gray hot dogs and, overpriced slushies.
And those little glass things with flowers in them.
Yeah.
But
no. 9/11 was an attack. Some, say was religiously motivated. Who knows? Happened on 9/11. But many folks' outlooks changed, especially those. Yeah. Especially those in the halls of government. Thomas Fuentes, former assistant director, FBI. After 9/11, the FBI was threatened to being carved up. One message was clear, was that there will be no tolerance for another attack. Former FBI agent Michael Gurman. After 9/11, the mood in the FBI was that the rules didn't apply anymore. There was an FBI agent running through the halls, yelling, "The rules are off, the rules are off."
Oh, wait, now, hang on a second. First of all, can I just say the idea that the FBI played by the rules before 9/11 is hilarious. And secondly, what an incredibly awkward way to phrase that. The rules are off. Have you ever heard anybody say the rules are? I mean, the rules don't apply, or there are no rules anymore, but the rules are off? Like, what's that? Have you ever heard anybody phrase it like that before?
Well, people say that after every election over here, but So
well, then never
mind.
It's an
American, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, never mind. It's like on accident, is it, instead of by accident?
Something like that.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, I was being very racist in the green room beforehand. I was saying anti-American stuff, and that Seamus was reacting to that. So if you're picking up some background aggression from Seamus there as he bores vicious eyes into the back of my head, that's what it is. I was being racist before.
Yeah, that's what it was. So we're going to shift to Newburgh, New York, which is located about 60 miles north of New York City. It was once a major economic hub between New York City and Albany. Partly due to suburbanation and other economic factors, the city suffered an economic decline from the 1960s to the first quarter of the 21st century. Currently, over 12,000 residents are unemployed within the city limits. Not good. Catholics make up the largest proportion of those who carry faith in Newburgh, with the second largest being those who adhere to Judaism in Newburgh.
Jews, you might call them.
Jews. And Newburgh also serves other faiths, one being Islam.
Islam, there we go.
Yep. So in the spring of 2008, a gentleman started visiting the Newburgh Mosque.
Oh, here we go.
He appeared to be Middle Eastern. He was a well-dressed man. Many noticed that the man drove expensive cars. He had been seen arriving in multiple BMWs, more than one. Not at the same time, obviously. Mercedes-Benz, and even a Hummer.
You get a different, really expensive car every time.
Yeah.
That's a sign of a rich guy. That's a sign of a guy who's got rentals.
Yeah, baby, right?
Yeah.
He would often flash rolls of cash and cover people's lunches. The man went by the name of Shahid Hussein.
Is that him?
That's him.
Oh wow, he's got a real terrorist name right there. Right, Shahid Hussein.
Yeah. Members of the mosque also made note of Shahid's comments about how women in the area appear to be too free.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay, carry on.
I've heard people in Kentucky say that too. So, yeah. He often made statements about the corruption of West on Islam. Hamid Rashida recalls his first encounter with Shahid. He claims he saw the strange man in the parking lot, and he asked him what he could do for him. And she'd respond, "I'm sure you can tell me about jihad."
You can tell me about jihad. That's like his opening line. Oh man,
what the fuck?
That's what you do, isn't it, at a mosque? That's where to go for the jihad.
Yeah, Haman found him to be a little bit odd.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, he began warning other members of the mosque to stay clear of him.
Yeah.
James Kermati, also known as Abdul Rahman.
Rahman.
By the way, I'm probably going to butcher a lot of these names. If I do, I apologize.
Rahman is one of the first names of God in the Quran. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. It means what's it mean? Compassionate.
Oh.
Yeah.
So James the compassionate one, right?
Abdul Compassion, yeah.
That's James there. Claimed he was born a Muslim and that his parents live in Afghanistan. James was no stranger to being on the wrong side of the law. He had a record of being arrested over 27 times with all minor crimes, both in upstate New York and in New York City. James was a struggling pot dealer and a nighttime Walmart employee. In the spring of 2008, when he met Shahid at a mosque in Newburgh. James admired Shahid's wealth and style. He introduced himself by asking about Shahid's shoes, asking if they were from Pakistan. Shahid advised that he and the shoes were both from Pakistan. James claimed that he had been from Pakistan, but of course he had never been there.
Okay.
It is important to note, right out of the gate, that James is a bit of a liar.
Yeah.
He would spend hours upon hours telling tales to Shahid about violent crimes in great detail that never actually occurred.
Why would he do that?
So he's trying to come off as, some sort of, tough guy, right? In one of these tall tales, James bragged about shooting a 12-year-old boy who stole from him and pulled a gun on him. He bragged, "I don't care if he was 3 years old. If he pulled a gun on me, I was going to take him down." A fellow member of the mosque, I should say, described James as someone who likes to hear themselves talk. Shahid often struggled to appear to be interested or stay awake during James' tales of badassery as the hours would drift on.
There was one time I shot a 12-year-old.
Makes you sound like such a badass, right?
Yeah.
Shahid claimed that he was connected and financed by Yasi Muhammad. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Maybe I'm wrong.
Right.
Yep. Which translates to the Army of Muhammad, which is a Pakistani-based terrorist organization in Kashmir. The group's primary motivation is to separate Kashmir from India and merge it into Pakistan.
Well, Kashmir has been a very contested area for a very long time. And even now, if you look at Kashmir on a map, the map will not quite know where the border is between India and Pakistan in Kashmir. It'll be a dotted line, or they'll have some kind of comment on the atlas.
Right. And all will be revealed. That's what Robert Plant always said. It also maintained close relations with the Taliban, Al Qaeda, and Afghanistan, and continued to be allied with these groups. Sheed explains to James that his wealth, cars, suits, and all, right, are from his affiliation, and he has to do their will. So he's just agent of their
Pakistani terrorist group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. James, of course, loves his this guy's wealth, right? He's seeing this guy as a sugar daddy, a mark, whatever you want to say, right? So he likes hanging out with him and trying to milk a little money here and there. So he starts acting like he's angry about U.S. military killing Muslims in Afghanistan and Pakistan. She begins spending more time with him after that. Now he starts talking more directly about actions for jihad. He asks James what would be the best target. James dismisses the claim, saying the best target's already been hit.
Meaning
that's what I'm assuming. Right?
Okay.
She doesn't seem to like this response and continue to pressure James. After hours of badgering, James needs a local bridge. She dismisses that, claiming that the bridge was too strong to be blown up. It wasn't a good target anyways. James tries to move on, doesn't want to talk about this, but she won't let it go. This goes on for days. James gets angry, claiming that he has made suggestions, but she doesn't care. Or basically, he's calling him an idiot too. It gets kind of ugly. Finally, Shahid breaks out a map and points to Riverdale Temple, which is a nearby Jewish temple in Riverdale. Not to be confused with a show that is kind of like the modern day wannabe Twin Peaks. It's actually a temple. It's actually a rich area in upstate New York. Very rich, a lot of Jewish influences, and not far from New York City. We might talk about.
Well, there's somebody. This guy is suggesting that as a revenge for the U.S. Army killing Muslims in the Muslim war, they should bomb a Jewish temple in the
Bronx. Why don't you see the connection there, Barry? What is your problem? What is your problem with trying to find flaw in this logic? Right? She points out the temple and the nearby Jewish center in the Bronx. He suggests that this should be the target, and James agrees. She begins to push James to find some brothers in Islam to carry out this attack. James assures him that he can, right? This goes on for 4 months.
4 months.
James brings up what they must do for this jihad. James agrees. Shahid would ask him to recruit brothers in Islam for this attack. He assures Shahid and then blows him off. It's just repeat, right? Shahid tells James he is getting pressure from his leaders in New York. James reassures him again that he's going to do this, and then he fucks off. He disappears. So for months and until 2009, James vanishes from Shahid. He isn't at the mosque at all. He doesn't come by his place. He's not at his home. He doesn't answer his call. So he's totally ghosting him, just like one of your girlfriends, right? Then Shahid hears hears that James is back in the area. So he calls him up. James answers this time. Shahid then asks him why he left James tells Shahid rather that I left the area. I'm not there. I'm not in this stuff anymore. I'm gone, man. I'm not there. And then Shahid said, I can make you $250,000, but you don't want it. What can I tell you? And the both men immediately start laughing. And it is well documented that they had cartoon dollar signs in their eyes. At least James did. Yeah. So he agrees with Shahid. And when he sees him, he tells him, "Thank you, brother. We are family. Love you, brother." All while little, right? So by April, go ahead. Will you say something?
No.
Okay, sorry. I thought you said something. Anyways, by April to 2009, James had recruited 3 more men to help the plot. David Williams, Netta Williams, Lagarpayan. Here's all 4. So top corner is top right corner. That's a younger picture of James, right?
Okay.
So bottom left is David Williams. David grew up in Newburgh. He was a well-liked kid in the neighborhood. Out of school, he fell into a rough crowd. sold drugs, ended up doing 5 years in prison. While accounts, this changed David. He cleaned up his life, began to go to college. Then his younger brother was diagnosed with a rare liver disease. One thing I read said he needed a transplant. The other one said it was just a tumor removal. Either way, kid was in bad ways, right? He needed some medical stuff. This devastated David. He absolutely adored his brother, right? Shortly after his brother's diagnosis, David's outside. He's crying his eyes out. And one of his old friends from the neighborhood, James Cromartie, walks on by. And he's like, "Hey, what's going on? What's going on with you, man? You okay?" He's like, he's all upset about his brother, and then he's worried about his mom because his mom doesn't have, the money to pay for the medical expenses. So James says, "Hey, I know a guy that might help." So he recruits him to start working with Shahid.
He's building a symbol.
Oh, yeah. The first day, David meets James and Shahid. They take a drive to Stewart Air Force Base. Oh, I thought I had a picture of that. I guess I don't. Oh, well. It's a Stewart Air Force National Guard base. She points to the planes at the base and suggests that they should blow one of them up.
What happened to the temple, the Jewish temple?
Hey, we're kitchen multitask. Can you not chew gum and walk at the same time, Barry?
Okay. Killing Jews is always in the background, yeah?
Yeah. So that's a bonus, right? It's a bonus for these guys.
Okay.
She had said it would be no problem for him to get a Stinger, which is a surface-to-air guided missile to take out one of the planes. David goes on. He has a lot of concerns, right? He goes on. He's worried about, getting somebody get hurt. What do you know? There might be somebody working on the plane, cleaning the plane, the plane. Yeah, get hit by shrapnel. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't want anybody to get killed. James pipes up and he claims that, the plane is always about damage, not casualties. We're just going to do, property damage. We're not going to hurt anybody. That's not what we're about, right? So he reassures David that, Shade tells both of them that they need more fellow brothers of Islam to pull this off. So the next person I get is Anna Williams, who's there in the bottom right corner.
Okay.
Williams was working in factories, barely getting by when he was asked to join the others. He was a well-respected guy in the neighborhood. He also spent some time in prison for nonviolent crimes, which, by the way, all these gentlemen, any of the crimes they've ever committed in the past were all nonviolent. They had no history of violence.
No history, yeah.
No history of violence, yep.
All right.
Okay, so then we get our fourth compadre here, Laguerre Pan, who is there in the upper left corner.
Laguerre is the French word for the war.
The war. That's a great name.
Yeah.
He was Haitian-born. He was young man living in a one-room apartment in the slums of Newburgh. He was diagnosed very young to have limited cognitive issues. He had shown signs of schizoid behavior, such as hearing voices and emotional outbursts. Pardon me.
So far, it looks like particularly vulnerable people are being targeted. That's what it looks like so far.
You're always so skeptical, I tell you.
Sorry.
James expressed concern to Shahid about him being involved in this, right? He first he's like, "Hey, I got 2 more guys, but hey, this one guy we got, I'm worried about him, man. I don't know if he's gonna fit in with us." But
yeah,
Shahid's like, "Hey, I just need him to be a lookout, man. That's all he has to do. I just have to look out. That's all he needs to do. We can count on this guy, the guy that hears voices. You can hear him. He's fine." I mean, this is the same kind of thing that George Clooney and Brad Pitt said in Ocean's 11. We just need to kind of be a guy. It'll be all right. Definitely. So anyway, Shahid would go on to explain to these guys that he's going to make them rich by only working 3 weeks. He will provide food for them, clothing for them, money, and cars to drive during this time. He also promised that they would fly to Florida for after the job to party and
Miami, baby.
Even else, yeah. So, and that is where we are at so far. We have something now. We have time for something else, I believe. Is that right, Barry?
I don't know. Do we?
Yep.
Senior ministers in Germany have called for a ban on beards in response to the threat from terrorism, as research has shown that every Islamic terror attack on German soil over the last decade has been committed by someone with a beard. Although there is no specific verse in the Quran ordering Muslims to grow beards, many traditional commentaries or hadiths recommend it. For instance, 780, 772, the Prophet said, do the opposite of what the pagans do, keep the beards and cut the mustaches short. Other senior elected officials from the Christian Democratic Party believe the new measures do not go far enough and have published a series of more far-reaching proposals. Thomas de Maizière, the country's clean-shaven interior minister, is to detail a series of new proposals on Thursday, including the deportation of any immigrant whose beard exceeds 36 inches and the forced shaving of all those who will not submit to secular laws. The National Council of Muslims in Germany is predictably against the move. These beard proposals are ridiculous and will affect twice as many natural-born Germans as immigrants, says Ali Wakat, a spokesman for the council. If they ask our advice, we would steer them towards a burqa ban instead. It's dramatic enough to look like the government is doing something, but as Muslim immigrants in Germany don't wear burqas, the only people affected by the ban in any way whatsoever will be Saudi tourists. I really hope this bit works, man.
Well, that was fun. Back to the non-bullshit. Is that the way to segue?
That's the regular show, folks. Back to the show.
Yeah, maybe some connection to this. Anyways, yeah. Sheed presents the plan. They're going to pack 2 backpacks with each with 35 kilograms of plastic explosives and 500 ball bearings.
Oh, man.
Then place the bags at 2 locations, the Riverdale Synagogue and the Riverdale Jewish
You're killing the Jews.
Yep, still doing the Jew thing. The anti-Jew thing, I should say. The bombs were rigged so once armed, they could be detonated via cell phone from another location.
Yeah, there's no way that could go wrong.
Yeah, right? Text message. Oh, shit. Yeah. LOL. Yeah. The other part of the plan was to use 2 Stinger missiles to strike planes at Stewart Air Force Base.
Where are they going to get Stinger missiles?
Oh, I must have cut. Did I cut that part out of this?
You know where they got the Stinger missiles?
So actually, part of the conversation, whenever David met, I did cut that. Sorry. So the first time that Shahid met David, and they looked at the Air Force Base, he actually drove them to a storage facility and shows him a freaking Stinger missile.
He's actually got Stinger missiles.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Take it back.
Yeah. So that's the plan, right?
Yeah. What's going on here?
So that's at Shahid's apartment. All 4 of them there, and
why is Shahid taping?
It says May 1st. I don't know. Why are you asking questions like that, Barry?
Sorry.
You sound kind of suspicious for some reason. Very
okay.
Odd. Why don't you be suspicious?
Is that a genuine photo of the conspiracy, the terror cell? Wow. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Cool.
So May 20th. Man, you really hung up on this. Huh?
Sorry.
May 20th.
Being interested in your script. I liked the script yesterday, by the way, and I really liked it. I thought it was great.
Thank you. May 20th, 2009, Shahid in the Newburgh Four, as they'll be known
We're now calling them the Newburgh Four.
Oh, yeah, okay. There's a reason. You'll see. Drive to Connecticut, because that's where the storage facility
I think it's pronounced Connecticut.
Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, sure. They pick up the weapons and the bombs, including the Stinger missile, right? They drive back to New York.
No.
James is in the backseat trying to wire the bombs. He struggles getting the bombs ready.
God.
He gets frustrated. He gets pissed off about it. He gets so mad. He pulls over the car, helps basically finishes wiring the bomb himself.
So the sentence says he struggles with getting the bomb ready.
Yeah.
Fuck me. There's like 35 kilograms of plastic in there,
Yeah.
This wire, let's try this one. In the back of the car.
So they get back in the car. They drive back to Riverdale, right?
Don't make me stop this car.
They arrive at the location in Riverdale. James places the bombs into the cars that had already been parked. Say cars there ready, so they can just dummy cars. Once James got back into the vehicle, I should also add, James claimed afterwards, and there's been conflicting reports about this. And again, anything I'm saying, please, anybody in the chat, comments afterwards, school me. I want it. If there's some more of this I'm missing, by all means. I mean, not just this episode.
James likes being schooled.
Yeah, both of us do. Well, some more than others. Anyways, he walks back to the car. As soon as he gets into the car, an 18-wheeler blocks the road, and it has logos of New York City Police Department.
Well, that's a coincidence, isn't it?
Another armored vehicle arrives, and officers from the Department of Emergency Service Unit smash the blackened windows of the SUV, remove the men from the vehicle, handcuff them to the ground.
Everybody on the ground! Nobody moves! Everybody
None of them offered resistance. Approximately 100 officers.
100?
Yep. From the FBI, Homeland Security, and the NYPD.
Oh.
Both the car bombs and the missiles were actually fakes.
Fakes? I knew it. They were not Stinger missiles.
Given to the plotters by an informant from the FBI.
Mm.
Homes of the Newburgh Four were raided by the FBI, Homeland Security, and a SWAT team the same night.
Mm.
So, you know.
Cops. That was what you're going to hang around eating donuts. Yeah.
Cops doing cop shit, right?
What's that photo from?
The arrest. I don't know, honestly.
That's right next to the Riverside Temple.
Yeah. There's
a newsman there as well, I see.
Yeah, this is, I think, the photo there with the cop standing there is actually the next day, but I just try to find
the next day. Okay.
The best one with all three
cool.
of them arrested there. Kermody, Anna Williams, David Williams. I'm sorry, James Kermody, Anna Williams. Is it both Williams? So I bet they both are. I didn't even pick up on that until now. Well, after all this time, the European were charged with conspiracy and weapons offenses. Their first court appearance was on May 21st, the day after 2009, and were ordered to be held without bail. Do you know anything odd about that, Barry?
Yes.
What do you notice? What do you pick up? What's odd? Not about the photo, but what I just read.
The date?
No, that's literally the next day because it was the 20th. So the 21st, the next day they're arraigned for bail.
The one guy's missing.
Yeah. It turns out
Shahid.
Yeah, it turns out Shahid.
I should explain to people. I have seen this script before, and I read through it, and I was still unable to answer the question. So, right.
Yeah, that delay scared me. I thought you were having a stroke or something. Anyway,
no. I was scanning this. I have it written in front of me. I was scanning the sentence, saying, "Well, what's the problem?" Such an idiot. Sorry.
It's okay. Shahid was an informant.
I got there.
Shocking.
Yeah. And to be honest, the only way you'd know the only way you'd have known he was an informant is if you watched everything he said and everything he did. At any point during this scenario, everything he does screams informant. And if he fucking rolled up and said, "Oh, tell me about jihad" in a mosque parking lot, what the hell does he think Muslims are? Oh, sorry.
If you had any more red flags, I would date him. Anyways.
Flags, I would date him.
So let's take a few more minutes to talk about at least what we know.
Concept, right? Yeah.
1994, Shahid Hussain, whose family owned a chain of restaurants in Pakistan, is arrested in Karachi on a murder charge. He says was trumped up for political reasons. We could believe him, I'm sure. His father bribes an officer to secure his release, and he flees to the United States. Between 1995 and 2000, he works his way up, according to him, from a $4 an hour job at a gas station to owning a convenience store and a house in the middle-class suburbs of Albany, New York.
Okay.
2000-2001, Shahid, being fluent in multiple languages, including Urdu and Dutch, takes a job at the DMV as a translator. He starts a side business helping DMV test takers cheat the test for $300 to $500 each.
Of course he does, yeah.
January 2002, facing criminal charges and deportation after the DMV scam, Hussain, becomes an FBI informant. His first assignment is wearing a wire to gather evidence on 13 associates in the driver license scam. Some of these targets are his own friends.
Oh, I get it. He's a dick.
Yeah, 2002. He will later testify that his family and long-standing friendship with former Pakistani Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto. Am I getting it right? Thank you. Brings his son to visit her at a hotel, the Ritz-Carlton. She asks the boy, "How old are you?" And he says, 17. "Let me buy you a car." She arranges to buy him a $40,000 Mercedes-Benz. Again, this is what he claims. August 2003, he files Chapter 11 bankruptcy, reporting nearly to owe $180,000 in debt, but fails to mention to the court that he has a trust fund from a will that is being withdrawn $500,000.
That's nearly $500,000.
Yeah. November 2003, Hussein meets with Mohammed M. Hussein, a Bangladeshi immigrant who owns a pizzeria in Albany. Following FBI instructions, Hussein brags about importing weapons for his Mujahid brothers to use in Mujahid, to blow up shit in the U.S. With Stinger missiles, bringing it back, right? Full circle.
Yeah.
Call back for destroying planes.
For destroying airplanes.
Yeah.
That's the quote. Okay, good. Thanks.
Yeah.
Try to keep it on the no, just straight out. All right.
January 2004, Hussein gives the pizzeria over $5,000 in cash. Hussein RF, a local imam and the FBI's prime target in the sting, is bought into the overseas transaction. Let's do some business. Business, okay? Let me make some money, okay? Hussein says in a surveillance video. His FBI marching orders are to make it clear that the money is for being laundered for terrorists, but the pizzeria owner seems to think that it's just a loan. "I just need to keep going, just so I can keep paying my bills," he says. Both he and Aref will be convicted of money laundering and material support and sentenced to 15 years in prison. 2005, Hussein buys his son a new car. It's an Audi this time. August 2006, after swearing to bankruptcy court that he can't afford to pay his debts, Hussein buys a rundown hotel in upstate New York. He puts it his wife's name. After 2 years, 2 years later, 3 guests sue Hussein for fraud after taking prepaid reservations from a room that actually not available. Between 2007 and 2008, having worked off his DMV scams, Hussein becomes a paid informant. Yet again, he is assigned to spending time in mosques in Newburgh and look for, in his word, radicals, a job that will make him nearly $100,000. October 2007, Hussein's case is settled in bankruptcy court. He convinced the court that he can't make the payments, so they're gonna give him, 4 years to take care of it. 2008, he befriends a guy named James Cromartie. Sound familiar? May 20th, he drives Cromartie and 3 other men to Riverdale to, we'd already covered that. So yeah. That's what this fucker did. Now, I don't know if this will come to a shock to you, but anytime this kind of stuff happens, there's usually a big hubbub in the press.
Yeah,
you think that the
from there?
Yeah. Do you think the press were fair about him? That the government presented facts to the public?
I expect so.
All right. So here's some of the quotes. 4 men with shared hatred for America arrested.
Headline.
Prosecutors described the suspects as extremely violent men who embraced every opportunity for terrorism. The 4 men met in prison and hatched the terrorist plot at a local mosque.
That's just a lie.
Yeah. Senator Chuck Schumer, Chucky the Show, I don't do a very good Chuck Schumer, but I'll try to do my best.
Okay.
The good news here is that our FBI and our NYPD did a very good job. In fact, they've been able to penetrate these groups early on. It shows that our surveillance is pretty good. So that's my Chuck Schumer. I don't do a very good Commissioner Kelly from the NYPD, so I'll just read it normally. This is truly a textbook example of how a major investigation should be conducted.
Or the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Jesus fuck.
Yeah. So the Jack Offery continues, as you see. Here we
go. Here's here. Jack Offery. Hang on, let me see this. FBI hears on a floating terror plot to bomb Riverdale saying, "Oh fucking hell." Yeah.
Michael Bloomberg, the mayor of New York City, praised the NYPD and other law enforcement officials. Other local politicians also praised law enforcement and expressed relief The governor, David Patterson, said the plot illustrated the constant terrorist threat New York faces. On May 30th, 2009, New York Governor David Patterson announced that he would give Riverdale Jewish Center and the Riverdale Reform Center $25,000 to improve security. Because that's what was the problem, right? That's what the problem. The money will come from the Department of Homeland Security and will primarily involve installation of alarms and surveillance equipment. Problem solved. All four men pleaded not guilty in 2009. Sorry, I thought I had another picture. In March, I go too far. Sorry, the cursor bumped. March 2010, defense lawyers filed a motion to dismiss the case on grounds of entrapment.
Entrapment, yeah.
Relaying that the materials provided by the government, including recordings, the FBI agents' affidavits, defense argued that the plot was proposed and closely directed by FBI informants who, quote, suggested the targets paid for the defendant's groceries, bought a gun, provided fake bombs and missiles, assembled the explosive device, and acted as chauffeur. Each of the two homemade bombs were equipped with about 37 pounds of inert
C4.
Designed to look like C4. But there was no danger. Quote, there was no danger to anyone. Again, quote from Raymond Kelly, the fucking commissioner, said that. There was no danger. Is there no crime? Anyways, the bombs were fake, but the feds were able to produce a video showing a real bomb blowing up with plastic dummies surrounding a car.
How is that allowed to be shown to the jury?
Yep.
How is that allowed to be shown to the jury by anybody?
Yeah.
Here's something. We're going to show you something now that didn't happen
at all.
And we by the way, we accept that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But we're going to show you this anyway. That's not sensible evidence.
And I'm sorry if I could have got a pic of it, I would. But I mean, it's literally like they're like just a row of people standing around in a circle, as one does around every vehicle in a parking lot. It's just so.
Whenever I see a car parked outside a synagogue, I grab a few of my mates and we just stand around it.
Yeah, right. The FBI rigged Shahid's home and vehicles with audio and video gear.
That explains the footage we saw, right?
Yep. Shahid was instructed to record his interactions with his targets. The defense also noted that on several occasions, Shahid turned off the recordings, and many events were missing. Yes. Most notably, there's no recording of all four targets discussing the actual plot with Shahid. August 2010, Shahid testifies, stating that the ringleader was in fact James Cremati. Quote, hated Jews and Jewish people. He hated the American people, American soldiers. He was full-on hate for those subjects. He said he would kill the president 700 times because he's the Antichrist. Hussein testified that he created the impression that Cremati would make a lot of money for his role in the bombing. Most of the time, an informant would be offered, in this case, between $5,000 and $10,000 to make the target. When asked why he offered so much, because he was offering $250,000, right?
I remember.
She claimed that $250,000 was actually code for $5,000.
How does that work?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
When I tell you I want to borrow $250,000, Barry. And
if I give you 5,000, you're going to be disappointed, aren't you?
Yes, exactly.
I thought we were using the Shahid code.
Yeah. He had to admit that he, in fact, was the only one to do this code.
A code isn't a code. If only one person knows it, it's not a code. All right? Yeah. It's gibberish.
Yeah. The prosecution was also allowed to show the jury a Stinger missile,
a real one or the fake one?
Yep, the real one.
Why?
Yep.
What's the point in showing a jury an actual Stinger missile that was not used at any point during this crime?
The federal government rested their case by saying it's essential for the American security to prosecute these four men.
To fuck off. That's what's essential. Oh. Sorry, I'm annoyed now.
No, you're
right, Corey. I'll be fine.
The defense argued that the whole case was entrapment. Carried out were facilitated for a news-grabbing federal case that would ease the public about the FBI's war on terror. Certain elements of the crime were made by the FBI's actor, Shahid, to ensure this. The need to have multiple actors to form a conspiracy.
Yeah, that's what a
Right,
conspiracy is.
because if it was just Shahid and James, it would just be his word against them. Would be right. The trip to Connecticut made it a federal crime, right? Because they're
Yes, of
bringing
course.
items across state lines.
Borders, yeah.
Yep. She'd also wanted to make sure that Muslims were involved.
The Muslims.
The
Muslims.
Because we had to have Muslims to be the ones carrying out this crime, right?
The Muslims, yeah.
Yep.
Fuck them, right? The Muslims.
Yep. The location was also near the site of 9/11. So this all kind of, they also, for whatever reason, want to ensure other religious implications by making a synagogue. That's still whatever. The prosecution claimed that all four men were tied to the mosque, but in fact, only Kermati had been known to visit there, and he was never considered a regular member. He would just, So, yeah. I mean, the people at this mosque didn't know anybody there except for Kermati, and even most of them didn't know him. Were like, oh yeah, that fucker just shows up and leaves, like kind of thing, right? So,
do you think? I know you told
yes.
me not to say this, but do you think this in any way informed the plot to season 1 of Miss Marvel?
Never saw Miss Marvel.
She's one of these Muslims. She's one of these Muslims, and part of the plot is that the FBI are sniffing around the mosque looking for trouble, and the imam is like, "Fuck off."
Well, I mean, there's a lot of that in a lot of these stories. Yeah. Unfortunately, there are multiple stories exactly like this. I mean, we'll probably do a
Muslims or in general.
Just this kind of framing that the FBI did, which we'll talk about more about this when this. Start jumping ahead. I'm just gonna throw this picture up here already.
Oh, hello. There's the Newburghs. Yeah. I remember at least one of these people is cognitively impaired. Yes. And another one was recruited just after he discovered that a life-saving operation for his brother was beyond their budget. That's a very vulnerable time for both of those people.
And you're offering how much money? $250,000. $250,000.
Well, that's code for 5,000. Let's not lose the.
$5,000 might pay a credit card bill or something like that. $250,000, you can pay off all your bills, move somewhere else, and still have money to go.
I like how
what I mean.
The poster here, it says preemptive prosecution, selective targeting, Muslim arbitrary detention. That's exactly what happened.
Exactly.
The guy went there looking for Muslims, not any terrorists. He went looking for Muslims. Like the fuck.
Former FBI agent Michael Gurman. They certainly weren't terrorists. This government operation over the course of the year was specifically designed to turn them into terrorists.
That's worse than entrapment. That's gaslighting.
Yeah.
You do want to kill Jews, don't you? You do want to kill the Jews.
After a 6-week trial, the four were convicted. The lawyers for the four were filed motions for a new trial claiming that Hussein committed perjury during the trial. David Williams was told the Village Voice that the four were not part of the plot to hurt anybody, but they're actually trying to swindle Hussein. And the incriminating statements that they made were to make Hussein believe that the four were credible terrorists. Well, again, I mean, Kermati's a con man. Obviously, Shahid is too. So these guys were just, two con men, right? And that's all Kermati saw this guy as that. And these guys were just like, hey, we just want to get paid. We don't want to hurt anybody. And again, Kermati still claimed, he's the one who claimed that, hey, I didn't even turn the thing to go off. I just wanted to think I did. So I get paid, June 29, 2011, Kermati, Williams, both Williams, I should say, were sentenced for their part of the attack to 25 years by Manhattan federal judge Colleen McMahon. The judge criticized.
It's an Irish name. Colleen is the Irish word for girl.
She's going to be, we're going to talk about her a lot as we get through.
Colleen.
Judge criticized not only defendants, but also what she viewed as the government's overzealous handling of the investigation, referred to Kermati. She said, the essence of what occurred here is that the government, understandably zealous to protect its citizens from terrorism, came upon a man both bigoted and suggestible, one who is incapable of committing an act of terrorism on his own. It created acts of terrorism out of his fantasies and bravado and bigotry, then made those fantasies come true. The government did not have to infiltrate and foil some nefarious plot. There was no nefarious plot to foil. Now, that's what? Okay.
She's outlining. She's explaining about the entrapment.
Yes,
sentenced in the 25 years each.
Yeah, there's a lot of this I don't understand. As for the defense, we're not political or religious martyrs, but thugs for hire, pure and simple. Kind of heavy on that word thugs. Might have some implications. Anyways, I don't know. Not saying, but you know, maybe there's an element her. Maybe she's got a little bit of bigotry in her own. You know, I don't know. Each of the men apologized before the sentencing. Cromartie said, I've never been a terrorist, and I'll never be a terrorist. I'm very sorry I let myself be caught up in a sting like this. He added that he truly not to believe the anti-Semitic statements heard on the audio tapes at the trial. Again, I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, there's a lot to say about him, right? We kind of already, you know, all these guys have been criminals, right?
Yeah, but petty criminals,
not golden boys, right? Cromartie definitely
but they're not kill the Jews guys either.
Exactly, and I don't think he was actually.
They're not 25 years in jail type people.
Yeah, I mean the stuff he said was very much like it'd be like, okay, you know how much a big fan of Pittsburgh Penguins. That's been documented on the show, right?
Fake team you.
Shut up. So if I had to lie and say, you know, if, like you were trying to entice me to do like some sort of hate crime against the Pittsburgh Penguins, you'd be like, yeah. You'd be like, yeah, that's Sidney Crosby. He's such a piece of shit, isn't he? You'd be like, yes, that's Sidney Crosby's not good. Yeah, he's a bad guy. Also, he's Jewish. It was, God damn it, Barry. But it was something like that. I mean, it wasn't. I don't know. Again, those who want to comment and tell me otherwise about
the whole hockey team anti-Semitic, just that one guy.
Sorry, I think it was just him that they did, at least on audio, that had been recorded.
Sure. Sidney Crosby. Okay, got it.
Oh, fuck off. Sidney Crosby not anti-Semitic, you asshole. Anyways.
What made you say it though? He's not anti-Semitic.
I wonder if that sentence has ever been spoken before by anybody.
I doubt
Crosby is not anti-Semitic.
No. September 7th, 2011, McMahon also sentenced Laguerre-Payen to 25 years in prison. It also pretty much repeated the same shit.
Yeah,
she said
it was entrapment, and they did make up a crime, but I'm in jail.
Hey, here's 25 years. Fuck off.
Enjoy.
2013 Federal Court of Appeals upheld.
They upheld it. The appeals court.
Yep, they upheld it 2-1, saying that the defense were guilty as charged. Judge Newman, in rejecting the misconduct, said, as with the sting operations, the government creation of the opportunity to commit the offense, even to the point of supplying the defense with materials essential to the commit crimes, does not exceed due process limits.
Yes, it does. What do you mean it does not exceed due process limits? That's the opposite of due process. What the fuck? A judge said this.
Yep.
Here's your power. Go kill people. That's not entrapment.
FBI agents would have been derelict in their duties if they did not test how far Cromartie would carry out his desires. What the actual fuck?
They weren't his desires. No, they were the Shahid's desires.
That is just...
Your man, in Cromartie wanted to blow up the bridge, and Shahid was no, 4 months of this, and he was like, look, eventually he gave up and said, look, here's a map with a picture of a Jewish temple on it. Wouldn't you like instead to blow up the Jew? You would, wouldn't you? Because the bridge is a stupid idea. You would, yeah.
And I'm paying you $250,000 to do so. Oh! Yeah.
Now it's a good idea. Now I hate Jews.
Yeah. When a government agent encounters a Muslim who volunteers that he wants to do something to America or die like a martyr, the agent is entitled to probe the attitudes of that person to learn whether his religious views have impelled him towards a violent brand of radical Islam to pose a dire threat to the United States.
What law school did that judge come out of?
There's a lot in that statement that he just said that's really fucking bad.
Yep.
I mean, what the fuck, man? What? Yeah. I should have looked up whether or not he's still a fucking judge, because that's a problem if he is. July 2023, McMahon. Yep.
Halloween.
The same judge, ordered a compassionate release for David Williams and Laguerre-Payen, ruling that the FBI had unscrupuloususly used Hussein, who McMahon described as unsavory, to manipulate Cromartie into pressuring them to commit legal acts. I thought she already knew that, but somehow figured this out 10 years later. McMahon characterized the three men as hapless, easily manipulated, perverse, petty criminals, small-time grifters, who only participated because Kermati said he would pay them using money from Hussein.
Well, I wish Judge McMahon would have told Judge McMahon from 10 years ago.
Right? The real lead conspirator was the United States.
Correct.
McMahon wrote in granting the men's request for compassionate release effective in 3 months.
Why are you waiting for 3 months?
Yeah. She said that it was heinous of the men to agree to participate in what she called a government's made-for-TV.
It's true, isn't it?
The judge added the sentence was a product of fictional plot to do things that these men had never remotely contemplated and that were never going to happen. So why did you give him the sentence then?
Here's the thing. It's entrapment. If without the FBI guy, it would never have happened.
Yeah.
Right? That's entrapment.
Yeah.
If without the FBI guy, it would never have happened. That's entrapment. You don't have to worry about all these details about materials and opportunities and so on. Just if that guy didn't come into it, it would never have happened. Then it's entrapment.
Just Jesus fucking Christ.
That's what the judge is saying here as well.
Yeah.
It was never going to
She exonerated the government for
excoriate.
excoriated the government for sending a villain.
She's not qualified to exonerate the government.
She's not qualified to. Well,
only the Supreme Court can do that.
Yeah, to troll among the poorest and weakest of men for terrorists who might have proved susceptible to an offer of much needed cash in exchange for committing a false crime.
That is so true. That's exactly what happened. The poorest and weakest of men. Yeah.
January 19th, 2024, McMahon ordered a compassionate release of Kermati, the last defendant still in prison, calling his alleged leadership inconceivable.
Inconceivable!
Yep, and this time it actually meant what it meant. Right?
This time it means
yeah. They call Hussein a very unpleasant villain.
Yeah, true, right? True that.
I believe, if my math is correct, everybody should be out of prison. Oh, no. Kermati will be out in April this year. The other three are out. October 6, 2018, so we're going to go a little bit back in time. A stretch limo crashed in rural Schoharie, New York, killing 20 people. The limo's driver and all 17 passengers, 2 bystanders, were killed in the crash. After it emerged that the limo had failed a safety inspection a month before the crash and that the slain driver did not have a commercial license, the manager of the company was charged. Numan Hussein was convicted in May 2023 in serving 5 to 15 years in prison. Numan's father owns the company but is believed to be in Pakistan. His name is Shahid Hussein. So, that's the tale of the Newburgh Four. Yeah, we might see some more of Shahid.
So
Hussein
Benedict is genetic, is it?
It's fucked up. That's all I know, man. So
I don't know, man, but I've heard stories like from you, by the way, on Twitter and so on. When we talk sometimes off the camera, you've told me other stories about the FBI deliberately going in somewhere and saying, "Please commit this crime," and then saying, "Haha, you have committed the crime." And I'm like, dude, there's probably actual crimes happening somewhere. Go solve them, you know. You don't make them up.
So all this time that they were investing, all this money in fabricating and creating creating this so-called, fake terrorist attack, they weren't investigating or looking at the real fucking
actual crimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just fuck off. And I'm sorry, and I know it's so nice that Colleen decided to do the right thing, but 10 years have been wasted in prison by these fucking poor guys, right? They got fucked.
And what are they waiting for 3 months for? She said they'd be active in 3 months. What's that about?
So because they're going to be out on probation or parole, rather. So they're still going to be monitored. And I think it's probably also based because of their past crimes. They're going to say,
oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm just glad that they're out. I mean, it sucks. Sucks they haven't, I hope they sue the fucking government. It's fucking bullshit. I'll shut up. If I keep talking about this, we'll be here for another hour. The whole thing pisses me off.
That's very close to a bunch of other stuff you've told me. Cases down through the years that the FBI was creating crimes.
It's COINTELPRO. It's COINTELPRO all over again.
Pro, yeah.
Yep, COINTELPRO again, which might come up in something we're going to talk about in a second. So, the next part of the show.
Yeah, roll it up.
What's it called?
It's called How Many? The news. It's called Here's the News. What's new? Okay, sorry. What's new? Just before every podcast, Seamus and I put CIA in Google. Well, I put CIA into Google, and Seamus puts FBI into Google, and we both hit the news tab, and we pick out any links we think might be funny or interesting. I haven't seen his, and he hasn't seen mine, so we will all be seeing them for the first time together. Oh, shit, what do you have for FBI?
So the first thing I want to talk about is what's his name? Shit. Ray. He's the director of the FBI. Is it David Ray?
I don't know.
Anyways, Director Ray. That's all we need. Oh, sorry. That's all we need to talk about, right? He's testifying before a hearing, or senators and all this yada about the different things, and he's asked by Ro Khan. This was this week. Are we worried about any kind of intel or surveillance or investigation or the FBI targeting pro-Palestinian protesters? And Ro Khan made a point to assure everybody that the Director Ray said, no, that's not going to happen.
Oh, so it's going to happen.
And that's not happening.
So in other words,
Right.
It's going to happen. Wow,
Yeah,
I was trying to do something about the dark lighting. But I might have overcompensated. Did I? Sorry. Okay, carry on. As you were.
I think that was supposed to cue you up for a musical number or something.
Hello, my darling. Hello, my baby. Hello, my good time. Yeah.
Yeah. So the same organization that denied the existence of COINTELPRO and then had to admit that there was COINTELPRO, now saying they're not doing COINTELPRO anymore. But we know that they've still done COINTELPRO because they did it against Black Lives Matter. And,
Maybe they don't call it COINTELPRO anymore. They call it something else.
Sure.
They can say they shut down COINTELPRO, but they're going
It's
to do
a war on
exactly the same
terror. It's it's whatever, just like we talked about. So
Yeah.
Community
That's
outreach
program. That's what they call it.
right. So we also got migrants evacuating from shelter after FBI alerts extremist threat.
Okay.
Because that's the next thing, right? Because now we got migrants.
Give me the first paragraph of that.
Migrants. Let's see. Migrants processing facility were evacuated after FBI received alerts about threats from extremist plans to overthrow the facility.
Oh man.
So maybe that's not the FBI. Maybe that's just a bunch of
Things like that are happening in Ireland,
Yeah,
like right-wing fuckheads are protesting refugee centers, and man, that's not a good look. We're supposed to be a proper country, Ireland.
Oh, that's okay. The president that was going to do away with the kids in cages that he had already started when he was in the previous administration before the mean orange guy continued the kids in cages, and whenever the rednecks on the border challenged him about the border, said he'll just shut the border down and do away with amnesty. So fuck refugees.
Yeah.
Because he's always been a right-wing douchebag. Sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get political. Anyways.
to get political. That's all our podcast is.
GOP senators
political again.
GOP senators demand the FBI to repair damage to its credibility over anti-Catholic memo debacle.
From the FBI.
Yeah, because they were targeting Catholics there for a short period for some reason. So, what's the other? They claim now that the D.B. Cooper mystery is still open. So,
of course it is. That cache is still somewhere in a bear's lair in Oregon State, right?
Maybe.
In the woods.
FBI warns of Chinese hackers prepared to wreak havoc critical on U.S. Infrastructure. So I only point that up because they continue the fucking clash the sabers for fucking China now. So those are I had a couple others, but nothing really worth talking about. Those are the main ones I want to talk about.
Okay.
So. What you got, Bear?
Tell you what I got. This one. Joshua Schultz, former CIA employee, jailed for 40 years for largest leak in agency's history. A former CIA employee has been jailed for 40 years over the largest leak of classified information in the agency's history. Joshua Schultz, a software engineer from New York, passed the data to whistleblowing agency WikiLeaks in the so-called Vault 7 leak in 2017. That's the Vault 7 leak. I think, did you send me the information about the same leak? Where
Yes, I think I did.
That's ironically not the most interesting thing about it. There's also a thing in there about well, I'm not going to go into details because it's disgusting. But something what you told me about it is that there was a CIA plot to have Julian Assange assassinated.
Yes.
So this is on Sky News, but this Joshua Schultz story is all over. If you type CIA into Google and hit the news, it's very interesting, and some of it's funny, and some of it's really, really not funny. Right?
Surprised Sky News would report that, but
it's on every agency, man. I just pick Sky News.
That's probably why.
Next one is ex-CIA director calls U.S. strikes against Iran's Revolutionary Guard a clear signal. The U.S. military says it struck dozens of targets in Iraq and Syria tied to Iran's Revolutionary Guard and militants. Revolutionary Guard are like the elite military guys and militants. Former CIA director John Brennan joins the weekend to discuss the latest developments, according to MSNBC. So yeah, I guess if the US is blowing up Iran's Revolutionary Guard, that is indeed a signal. Correct.
Yeah.
They're already attacking Iranian targets in Syria and Iraq.
Yeah.
Not Iran, though. You have to draw the
I
line
really
somewhere.
I did not want to be correct on that prediction. Because remember, I predicted this.
Yeah.
It does
No,
not
if
work
they
out.
attack Iran, then you get your prediction. At the moment, they're
Yeah.
just attacking Iranian targets in different countries.
I hope they knock that shit off, period, and just stop.
We have
all
10
that.
months left for them to start attacking Iran.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. I'd rather be
No,
wrong.
I'm not looking forward
I'd rather
to it.
be
You know what I mean?
wrong.
I don't want to do that either.
Yeah.
I don't want to be right. I don't want to be right about any of my predictions except the Twitter one. Anyway, here's the last one from the Times of Israel. CIA, Mossad chiefs to hold critical hostage talks with Qatari Egyptian mediators. The directors of Mossad and the CIA will meet Qatar's prime minister in Europe in the next few days to discuss a temporary ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and the release of hostages, two officials briefed on the meeting said yesterday. CIA Director William Burns and Mossad Chief David Barnea will meet with Qatari Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman, another Rahman, right? Abdul Rahman Al Thani, the Al Thanis are in charge of Qatar, to discuss the release of the remaining 132 hostages. Now, isn't it interesting that nobody from Hamas is there just saying?
Anybody from Palestine at all? Even
No.
part of the-
Qatar, Egyptian, Mossad, and the CIA are going to be at that meeting. It's nice to see William Burns getting out and about again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been busy.
So that's it.
You know,
That's all I have. Those are my links.
His frequent air flyer miles.
He must have racked up a lot of air miles. Yeah.
Good for him.
I should. That is today's episode of Where's William Burns this week? Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's talking to the Mossad chiefs about releasing hostages. If only there was a way you could just talk to Hamas. Hamas would just say, "Could you stop?" Oh, sorry. You wrote the thing about the air guitar in the note box.
Oh, he popped back up. Okay.
My name's Seamus, and you might know me from my signature Gibson Deluxe model air guitar. You wrote it in the note box, you fucking dick.
I didn't want to forget it.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, man. So yeah, maybe if you're going to talk about releasing the hostages, talk to Hamas.
Jesus.
Yeah. So that's our episode.
Yeah, good times. Good times.
Yeah.
So next week, or not next week, 2 weeks from
2
now.
weeks. What will we be doing in 2 weeks?
And it'll be CIA, will it, Barry?
I have no idea what's going to happen in 2 weeks, but it will be ideally it'll be something I've written, so it'll probably be a CIA thing. Yes.
So no previews. We can't.
I
offer
promise
any
nothing.
Promise nothing. Promise nothing.
No, other than the fact that there will be an episode.
Based on all the cutting that you talked about in the previous beginning of the show, I believe the ladies would also agree that you offer nothing.
Yes.
Or promise nothing.
The ladies are.
I'm sorry, that was terrible.
That's okay.
I'll cut that out. I'll cut that out. I promise.
Yeah, heard that before.
Anyways.
Yeah, 17 times. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Right.
Thank you for joining us.
That's the show.
And I hope you liked this story about FBI madness and entrapment. And there will be more of this kind of thing. And if you like the show, please tell your friends. And if you don't like the show, please tell everybody. Because I think that would be interesting. If people came on and said, "Hey, you guys, that'd be great." If you don't like the show, please tell everybody you know.
Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. We'll
All
see you all in 2 weeks. And I don't love you, but you're okay. See ya.
I don't love you, but you're okay.
I didn't want to lie to him.